Welcome back. I am here. I'm joined by Kevin Crone, who just got to watch me play against Aaron. That was a pretty intense match from my seat.
I could totally imagine. How'd you feel about drawing Caracas right there in game 2?
Yes. Yeah. Good. Yeah, I saw you have yours in your main deck, which I is smart. I almost put it there. I took out the library because I'm a man of my word, and I've been ranting all season. I put in the
respect that.
strip mine, figuring it would be good against Aaron, but Caracas was even better.
Yeah, that was pretty spicy.
Yeah.
Brassy said during our commentary near the end of that match that basically it seemed like what we observed from Aaron's deck in that match was its relative power. She got good draws with powerful openings against you, and
Yeah.
some of its relative weaknesses because those games dragged on because she
Yeah.
couldn't find access to dredge to really put clock on you.
She's a no rod deck. Like
Yep.
the dredge clock is so slow relative to like the normal speed of vintage that
hmm
I just treat her like a no rod deck.
Yeah.
I wish I had the third land in my sideboard. My last minute tweak sideboarding was island out, Tormod's Crypt in, thinking, oh, this will be good against Aaron. And somehow she showed up with a dredge deck. I boarded in 0 of my 4 Tormod's Crypts. I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, I wish I had another island. But
It's
yeah,
an
I just have
interesting
to.
way to circumvent the dredge hate that way.
Yeah, it's funny. No, I mean it's a cool deck. But in the matchup, it's basically a null rod deck with a slower clock than shops. So
Mhm.
I think you just run the Hercules plan. I wish I had the other island in my sideboard, but I guess I got away with it. Yeah, game 1, you saw the power though. Like when she gets the good draw, I can't beat it. If she
Oh,
has
yeah.
disruption and a bazaar, and then she came up with the wasteland. Like I kept a sketchy hand because I figured if she no rods me, I have Tolarian Academy to make up for it. If
Right.
she spheres me, I'm okay. I've got good mana, and like she's on the play, so I'm really worried. The sphere and the null rod are what I'm worried about. But she goes null rod into Bazaar so that she's got a clock into Wasteland.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay. So like her distribution of draws she can get is super wide. Like it is not a bell curve. It's just like the tails of the distribution of what that deck can do, both good and bad, I think
Yeah.
are really long. And when she gets her good draw, I can't beat her. And that's basically, I mean, my keep was, I think it's a correct keep because I had a plan against basically I had a plan against the spheres and I had a plan against the no rod. But right, you put that together with a wasteland with
Yeah.
any kind of clock, and that's how she wins.
And can you talk to us about scrying Mentor to the top?
She can't beat it. Like, I thought about it for a while. You saw me tank on it. It's just
Right.
like her clock is so slow, and she has no reach. She has
Mhm.
no flying, no haste. That I just felt like if I can get a mentor going, then I just win. Um, it doesn't matter if she null rods me, right? It essentially lets me win the game through a null rod, which eventually it did. Obviously, that game was weird. It might be wrong to scry to the top there with only the one land. Obviously, I mean I'm sort of scrying it into my hand because it's a get probe. So like I have a get probe, so my first draw is fresh.
Yeah.
I just thought that would give me a way to win the game through her disruption. I'm still not sure what the right call is there, but that's what I was thinking. That's the answer to your question, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it ended up working out exactly as you described it. So there's certainly some merit to your choice.
Took a while. 8 draws with no land was frustrating, but
Right. Right.
yeah, she had no clock, so I had the time. Enough about that match, though. Let's go watch the next one. Here we come. All right, here we go. Aaron with the odd couple at it again. Andy Probasco has to win 3 straight to make the playoffs, but he got step 1 done against Kevin. Now
hmm
let's see if he can get step 2. Quick Tinker could potentially do the trick. Oh, that no rods might have a thing or two to say about that, though, huh?
Yeah. Look at this. Another fantastic 7 for Aaron. She's got a tomb and a
Wow.
rod plus a bazaar and all of the dredge goodies.
Yep.
This deck is just treating her very well tonight. And here we're seeing the part of Andy's deck that is completely lousy in this matchup, and that is Misstep and Pyroblast, neither of which even have targets, really.
True.
Granted, Pyroblast could remove an Amalgam, but that is not its purpose in life.
Well, you're supposed to get Painter Servant down, and then it's got targets against everybody. That's the
That's a fair
plan.
point. That's a fair point.
Like he wouldn't have 4 in the main if he wasn't a painter cert deck.
I don't
He's
know.
gonna.
In this metagame, maybe.
Look, he wouldn't have 4. I'll give you a couple, but like the
Fair
third
enough.
and the fourth one are pretty sketchy.
Fair enough. So that land that Andy just drew, though, is actually quite nice because he's still on the Tinker plan
Yep,
in the
3
face of
lands
this
will
null
get the
rod.
job done.
Yeah,
And I
and
don't.
this,
I think that's fast enough. Even turn 3 off 3 land drops.
I
Tinker.
think it is, and it might. I mean, Aaron's going to have access to multiple prized Amalga here,
Yeah,
which can stand in the way but never overcome, really, thanks to the fact that she doesn't have access to bridges.
right.
So this is another key difference in this particular build of Dredge, so to speak. Not having access to bridge is really going to punish her in the face of this Tinker. But she must have been happy about her null rod draw, right? You see there, it's cutting Andy off of his primary titular combo.
That's a great point. 2 null rods basically reduces his deck down to what? The Tinker Blightsteel plan? What else does he do?
Well, he has Mentor as well, but
He has a
generally
mentor.
speaking, that's it. Yeah.
Right. He's down to basically the 2 random broken win cons.
Yep.
Restricted
And
for a
now,
reason.
yeah, we'll see if Aaron can mount enough of a defense
There's no
slash
way.
offense.
There's no way.
I don't think it's possible either. Could she hit all of her bloodghasts here and be able to swing back at some point? I guess not.
They're not even hasty yet. They're not gonna get hasty.
No. Well, but she is going to dredge a fair bit. So what happens if she puts 4 prized Amalga and 4 bloodghasts into play this turn? That's 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 2 is 8. That's 20 power. She has to block with 1 of the Amalga. She could only swing back for 17 on the ensuing turn.
Yeah, because she's basically Bloodghast and Prized Amalgam. That's it, right?
Yeah.
She's not
Well,
summoning
that is
anything. There's no colored
Merit
mana.
Lage plus whatever creatures she could cast, which is very scant.
0. She has no colored mana in her deck. Well, sorry, she has the Black Lotus.
Yes, the Black
Other
Lotus,
than the
right.
single card Black Lotus, she can't cast any of her
Well,
creatures.
she has Dakmor Salvage, but she'd have to get both of them in play in order to put a Bloodghast onto the stack.
I stand corrected. She
Yeah.
cast a Stinkweed Imp the
So
turn
she
after.
can't. Yeah, she can't play Dakmor Salvage and cast a creature in the same turn either. So it's pretty deterministic.
No, you got closer than I was expecting. All the Bloodghast plus all the Amalga is actually exactly 20 power.
Mm-hmm.
But she has to chump block, so it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the price Amalga come into play tapped, so.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, so I think she's
completely
actually
forgot that.
cold. Once
She
he
is
puts,
actually cold to this. Her out
like,
is
Black Lotus
actually
for Stinkweed
casting
Imp,
a
which is
Stinkweed Imp.
toughness.
Yeah, her out was actually casting a Stinkweed Imp here, but she needed to start the turn with Dakmor Salvage in play, as we just discussed.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think her main deck can actually survive this situation. She can obviously block with Merit Lage if she had either half of the combo in play to start the turn, but
That starts on her sideboard, though.
yep.
That combo's sideboard only.
All right, there it is. Yeah. So Tinker was the right plan for Brassman.
He's halfway home.
Mm-hmm.
Needs 6 game wins on the night, and he's got 3 of them.
I have to admit, Randy, that I'm probably most disappointed tonight, barring any potential outcome, that Brassman doesn't have a matchup that he can bring Seasinger in against.
I know, right? No, he can steal a Merit Lage. Come
she
on.
doesn't have islands. The Seasinger, requires your opponent to have islands.
I misremembered it. I thought it was you have islands. I haven't played that card in a long time.
No, the Seasinger, her targeting
They have to have islands?
Gain control of target creature whose controller controls an island. Yeah.
Got it.
They have to have islands.
I screwed up my story earlier. I was talking about that card in the pregame. I misremembered it. That would explain why I haven't seen it in 25 years.
It's actually interesting. I mean,
23 years.
It's got some. It's very good against Monastery Mentor, for example.
Yeah.
You don't want to cast a Mentor when they have an untapped Seasinger, but it has an interesting tension, so to speak, from a deck development standpoint versus Old Man of the Sea.
Yeah.
Which has different strengths and weaknesses. Seasinger is far better against big creatures, like it could steal a Blightsteel Colossus.
Totally.
But that's not the norm in Vintage these days. Speaking of Blightsteel Colossus, I love that Andy got to bring in his Rakdos Charm, though.
Ha! Kills graveyards, right?
That, and it also deals damage to their opponent for how many creatures they have. Actually, I think it's each player for how many creatures they have.
Funny.
It's a pretty funny thing to do to Dredge, but it's really only good against the Bridge from Below versions.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw how I sideboarded, but I literally ignored my
Yeah,
Torment scripts completely.
and I think that's correct. I don't understand how Erin is not killing us all tonight with these draws she's getting. Look at this. Another 7 with a soul land and 2 lock pieces and a Bazaar and dredge card.
Her clock is I mean, I think
I
she's gonna
know.
win this game, but her clock is kind of
Ah, and Andy draws the Force of Will just when he didn't want it.
yeah, that's what I did game one.
Mm-hmm. You did that twice that match. Wow, look at that. Another sphere. Her deck is just delivering exactly what she wants. I mean, if she had tapped Bazaar and been able to stack her deck, that is probably one of the cards she would have chosen.
Might be 4 of the cards she'd have chosen.
It's an interesting choice of her here to sandbag the Bazaar in her hand. I don't I don't know whether or not it's objectively right or wrong, but she's obviously making Andy choose here, make with an uninformed opinion, reduced information.
Yeah, there's no reason to give him the information. I don't
I
think.
think you're right, but she could. I mean, there's theoretically she could Bazaar into a different card she wanted to cast. But as I previously said, I honestly think Sphere is one of the best cards there. So
Right. I don't
would
think
she
it was
have picked a
possible.
Null Rod over a Thorn? She might have picked a Null Rod over a Thorn there. That's debatable, I would say. Oh, and also, I didn't see if she brought in Hollow ones. I assume she did. This plan cuts her off of casting a Hollow one right there. But given that she has access to double Blood Gas, she really has no need for Hollow one in this board.
Nope. Double blood gas, double prized amalgam.
Yep.
That allegedly slow clock I've been accusing her of is going to look like the first game against me. It's all there, including the clock. But it's kind of it's a 3-part deck, right? She calls it the odd couple, which for obvious reasons, but
Right.
it's kind of 3 aspects of the deck that you need to.
So which part is Balki Bartakamus? Oh, look at that! Oh, if it wasn't for Chalice, she could cast that ley line. Oh, you can cut the dyssynergy with a knife.
Leyline's
Yeah,
really good.
this is still going to be great for her though, right? And the
Oh yeah.
Wasteland.
Oh yeah. No, we're going to game 3. You get to just enjoy watching her do her thing. This is awesome.
Yeah, I don't think if Andy could stack his deck, he could get out of this one either. He could have Shattering Spree right now for the Chalice, but he just has no cards in hand that get the job done.
Right, he's got 2 turns.
Yeah.
She's got 10 power.
Yep. He's still a little short of Dig. He needs 7 cards in the yard for that, as you demonstrated. That turn you had with Hercules plus Dig plus Yawgmoth's Will at the end there, that was pretty spicy. That was pretty satisfying to watch.
I felt like I tanked forever trying to figure out, like, how much mana do I pay? How many cards do I leave in the graveyard?
Yeah.
I also know the top of my library from the previous Ponder.
See, we didn't know if you actually knew or not.
The top card of my library is a paradoxical outcome.
Well, we found out that out later.
But I knew. So, like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to parse, like, and I can't quite float the mana as a response to the Null Rod, because if I Hercules her there, she just puts it back down.
Yeah.
It was all complicated. Yep. I was pretty happy with how it worked out, obviously. And I think, more importantly, I'm happy with like the sequencing I got to.
Yeah, it was good. And it gave us plenty to talk about. I think this right here, Erin is just deciding whether or not she really needs to play around anything, so to speak. Oh, the Hollow One's cost was reduced to -1. I forgot about that.
Right.
So you can cast it for 0 with
still
a sphere.
Free with 1 sphere effect.
Yeah.
And we are on game 3.
Here we go.
The best part about that spicy turn, by the way, is the fact that casting Yawg will mean I have repeal up if she makes Merit Lage in my end step.
Mm-hmm.
That was. Did you guys see that?
Brassman saw exactly that, and I had to say I honestly don't think I'd ever seen that interaction before.
I had not seen it before, but once I realized it, I felt a lot better.
No kidding. Yeah, you have a safety valve there, and the turn can't really go that wrong.
If things go sideways, just make sure you cast Yawg and can repeal it.
Yep. So here we see, I don't think anyone made any changes. I think both players are just giving their opponent a little bit of the sweat, letting the clock tick down a little bit.
Oh, she's got the ley line to start with.
How is Erin getting these hands?
Bazaar into Hollow one. Is that a good draw?
This
with
is
a Chalice?
The most savage. She is completely living up to the savageness here. Look at this. Look at this hand.
Pretty good.
Watch, she's going to activate Bazaar and she's going to find Thespian stage. I guarantee it. It's really interesting. I'm not sure how to sideboard with Andy's deck. I haven't studied the matter. Wow, Stripman was a good
How
pull.
about Strip Mine? Yeah,
Yeah,
seriously.
good enough. But it's interesting that he leaves in Pyroblast, right? I assume that he is
Oh, good
taking the
point.
tack that you described of having Vindicate once he's got Painter Servant.
Thespian Stage, right on cue. That's what you
Look
call
at
it
that.
for.
See?
Put the salvage in the yard. Get rid of this stupid serum powder. Play a hollow one and set
What's
up for
the
Merit Lage. This
what's the
game is
third
a
card you
great
discard here? It's Powder
Null
and
Rod.
Salvage and what?
Is it Null Rod?
She's got the Chalice on 0. Null Rod's tempting.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think it's
and
Null Rod.
unlike you and I, oh, but see, she wants Null Rod though to cut off Grindstone.
Grindstone. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Well, there
It's
it
either
is.
Null Rod or Strip Mine. She decides on
Chalice,
Null Rod.
yeah, Chalice plus Strip is pretty strong, of course.
This game is going to be a race between Aaron's Hollow One and Aaron's
Oh,
Merit Lage.
I just now realized she doesn't have to worry about Grindstone. Leyline turns it off.
Oh, she can't be targeted.
Right.
She can't be targeted by Grindstone. Right. I knew she couldn't be targeted by my Tendrils or by
Right.
Urkel's Recall.
Yeah.
I was so glad she had Leyline of the Void in her main instead of Leyline of Sanctity.
Yep. All
Turn
right,
off
let's see what Andy can
Hercles.
put
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, good luck.
Soul Ring off the top would be spicy.
Yeah, if he can get his Tinker off, that is his game-winning line.
All right, well, let's see what Gush does for him. Gush could
Do you
put him
just
into
gush and hope for an artifact?
or Painter Servant wouldn't be bad either. You could gush into Painter Servant and do Painter Servant plus Pyroblast.
Okay.
But he might want to hold it. I mean, yes,
Right.
he's on a clock, but it's not a fast one right now.
Right. Yeah, I like Lango. I think that's right.
He's going to be bummed by her Strip Mine, of course. Unless, well, she has an interesting option here. I think Strip Mine is correct because she already has the clock in play.
Yeah, let's get some more information first.
Right.
Duplicates
really
of
help.
everything. Check. It's an interesting point. Strip Mine versus half the combo.
Right.
She doesn't have the 2 mana to activate the Thespian Stage yet. I mean, if she can keep the workshop, but she can't keep everything.
Yeah, and the workshop doesn't contribute to that. She needs either 2 1-lands or a soul land.
Oh, right. You can't use workshop. Yeah. She can't even generate the 2 colorless yet, can she?
Yeah, so that tells me that Strip Mine is absolutely the correct play here.
I'm with you. I would play a Strip Mine as my land drop this turn.
Yep. It's an investment in the future. It means your Bazaar next turn is not any good because you don't want to discard either half of the combo.
Fine.
So you're kind of taking next turn off, so to speak.
Leyline doesn't actually protect her from Painter Servant Grindstone because of the Pyroblast.
Well, yes, absolutely. But that's part of her calculus, right? Is this Null Rod's here to shut off Grindstone. I already have the Leyline. Better off finding different cards.
It's all the more reason to play Strip Mine, right, for Volcanic?
Yes, agreed. Also because Volcanic is Andy's access to Shattering Spree. Yeah, red is still far more threatening to her. And Dak Faden. Yeah, red is absolutely more threatening to her.
Oh, Dak Faden stealing Hollow One, you're right. That is an issue. That is... I guess he could have done that last turn if he had it.
I was going to say she was sweating that last turn if she was smart, and she dodged it, but she has to respect the fact that it could happen at any moment.
Totally. Huh.
Interesting, going after black. So this is interesting. So she clearly respects the tutor aspect here more so than the cards we're talking about. I'm not sure I agree with that there because if he had Vamp Tutor, she's not cutting him off of it.
Right.
She's really cutting him off of exactly Demonic off the top. And he didn't bring in any black cards that she really cares about in this situation out of the sideboard.
Look, the most important thing she did was deny him a mana.
Well, it's hard to deny that.
That was the most important thing for Strip Mine. I'm with you. I would have hit the red mana instead of the black.
I believe that if she'd gone after Volk, Andy would have gushed in response to save it.
I agree.
So let's see what happens this turn.
Oh. That's...
Well,
a plan presents itself.
Yeah.
Her hand is just land drop, land drop, land drop. I have a backup plan if Hollow One doesn't get you.
It's Hollow One's going to end this game before she can assemble this combo.
I said it was a race a couple turns ago.
Okay, now this is getting interesting here because Gush into Painter's Servant plus Pyroblast means Andy can win next turn. Ugh, he didn't get it. He's still live to ponder into Painter's Servant.
I think he's tinkering away Grindstone.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're
He
absolutely
just
right. He's
tinkered,
live.
right?
I was thinking he can't tinker, but he had the answer right in his hand all along.
Grindstone may look like half a combo, but it's half of a different.
It's really yeah. It's one of the 4 11s in Blightsteel Colossus.
There you go.
Okay.
Wow, I thought Aaron had this, but Andy he drew a bunch of lands and then a 1-mana artifact that he could cast through Chalice.
Yeah.
I don't think there was anything Aaron could have done about this, honestly, with the cards she held. The Null Rod wouldn't have helped.
So
this is two different games. She's going to die to the card Tinker.
She's not fully dead.
She has to block, and then the following turn she can block with Merit Lage. But Blightsteel has Infect, so Merit Lage shrinks.
So Merit Lage becomes a 9/9?
Wow, which matters, because he's at 11.
Yeah, exactly. Well, those 3 cards didn't help her exactly. She already had what she needed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. She's not quite dead.
So if
she's coughing up blood.
So Andy's going to attack here, and obviously she has to block or die. He could find a removal for Hollow One right now. A shattering spree just ends this game right here. Oh, Andy, you gotta ponder first. Shattering spree ends this game.
Yeah, I mean the ponder looks like the blue card for Force of Will, but she doesn't really cast spells. So
I was gonna say none of her spells are what matters anymore.
I'm with you. Cool game.
Very. It's really a shame that Aaron is going to end up losing both of these matches. Right. That her deck really delivered quality hands for her. She has not mulliganed once. And she's had quality hands that have a consistent stream of threats.
Yeah, she won a game in both matches. She got into close, interesting back and forth game 3s in both matches. Deck has definitely looked better than the 0-2 that it seems like is going to go on the scoreboard.
Absolutely. No, it's not exactly over, of course, because Merit Lage does give her another turn.
Oh, and there was the shattering spree.
There was the shattering spree.
He had it if he just does that pre-combat.
Right.
Okay.
Now Andy has the sweat. Is there anything she can do?
Does Blightsteel Colossus really need to be indestructible? I guess it does. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when Darksteel Colossus felt ridiculous.
You know, if what we said was right, and this Merit Lage survives as a 9/9.
Yeah.
Oh, she can't get a hasty Bloodghast though.
Because he's at 11.
Yep.
Oh damn.
Dagger. 1 life point. Now Andy's obviously aware of that. He's going to guard his life total from going that low.
Yeah. Blightsteel turns sideways. Merit Lage blocks and gets infected. Down just below Andy's life total.
Wow.
Crazy. I don't know what she can top deck.
Yep, if she had any way to get a hasty creature of 2 power into play.
It's Icarid is the hasty creature she has access to, but there's none in her graveyard. They have to already beat. Well, did she sideboard them out? We haven't seen an Icarid.
Oh, we haven't seen an Icarid all night.
No, all night. I forgot she had them, but like, I mean, I play tested a couple matches of this just to.
Right.
I'd never seen this deck before. I at least wanted to understand how it interacted with my deck.
Sure.
And Icarid was the only hasty thing. Like Bloodghast when you're below 10, but if she starts the turn with an Icarid, so if she taps Bazaar, finds an Icarid to put into the graveyard, that actually will do it. I don't know if maybe she sideboarded them out, though.
Also, there's no black creature in her graveyard.
Oh, Icarid and a black creature?
Sure. Right. If the if the top card of her deck were Icarid and either a black creature or a dredger, then she'd be onto something.
Is it gonna be? Nope.
Oh, agony.
Yeah, and the Acrid has to be there to trigger at the beginning of the upkeep, so
Yep.
tapping on upkeep, not good enough.
And the
Crazy.
Bloodghast, she could still find a Bloodghast, but it can't block and it can't attack yet.
How many? She's made so many Merit Lages tonight, and none of them have gotten to attack for 20.
It's really an interesting testament to how Dark Depths is not effective enough in Vintage. Granted, I think the presence of Lavinia and the influx of Caracas has something to say about that.
Yeah, some of us. I love a repeal too. I think
Mhm.
2 repeals solve so many issues for the Paradoxical Outcome deck. You only have 1. I was surprised by you going down to 1.
Yeah, well, I had to make some concessions somewhere.
You have some cool stuff. Just in a world where people can play Null Rods. Oh, right, she can block again and still survive. She can take
Yep.
2 poison up to 9. Hilarious.
Now, does Andy have a way to remove Merit Lage?
Huh.
He doesn't have repeal. He doesn't have swords. Doesn't appear to have any bounce of any kind.
All right, I got a question.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Merit Lage die in combat before?
Yes, I have.
Really?
I've seen this interaction before.
Okay, I don't think I have.
Yeah.
That is the first time I've seen Merit Lage die to combat damage, I believe.
And he's got 7 cards in his hand, but he doesn't need to draw with library. He's got this game under control.
These are he's got Pyroblast, Painter Servant online. He didn't want to tap it. Library was colorless mana to set this up.
Yeah, that's a good play.
That's a nice piece of protection.
Interesting that he didn't cast Bazaar. Or, sorry, Grafdigger's Cage.
Gotta leave up Pyroblast. He doesn't know what's coming.
Well,
congratulations, Andy Probasco. He is now 1 win away from the playoffs. Came in on 1-2, but he's clawed his way up to 3-2. Aaron Campbell continues to show off a sweet deck, doing sweet things. Does not have a match win to show for it, but a couple of game wins and a couple of really interesting games.
Yep. And your game and mine right now is an elimination. It's win or go home for me.
It is, and I want the win too. Like, it's none of this like scoop your friends in.
Right, as you should.
I'd love to have you in the playoffs. Love dealing commentary, but you know what? I would rather be mono commentary on that quarterfinal week. If I win, I am through to the semifinals. That sounds much better to me than doing double duty in the quarterfinal week. So, good luck to you, sir.
Not that I blame you. Good luck to you as well.
All right, when we come back, it's the pseudo mirror, a couple paradoxical outcome decks, which will be crossing our fingers and hoping for some good draws. See what happens. It should be explosive either way.